Good evening, everybody. I'm going to call the special joint meeting of the Willington Board of Education and Willington School Building Committee to order. It's Monday, July 27th, 2026, and it is 7:02 p.m. I'll start with the SBC side, but we got members present: Adam Zalonis, Ann Grosjean, Jeremy Brothers, myself, Jim Marshall. Who else do we have? We have John Tan at the table, who we will seat in a second. I see Mike McCoo, Bill Stevens, and Lisa Eaton online. All right. So I'm going to make a motion that we seat John Tan in place of Adam Brewer.
I'll second.
Seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. That's 4. Good. You're seated. Thank you, John. Lisa, can you hear us in cyberspace?
I can. Yep,
All
can
right.
you hear me okay?
Yep, you're good. Thank you. So I will move that we seat. Sorry, Lisa. I'm not used to this now. Lisa is now. My apologies, Lisa. So yes, Lisa.
Okay.
Lisa is here as well. So how did you feel about John?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Lisa. Thank you.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
And that's it for the SBC side.
Hi, SBC. Thanks for inviting me to your week. We're happy to be here tonight. We have Jen McCoo representing us, John Mitchell, Ann Grosjean wearing both of her hats right now, which is awesome, and myself, Brianna Ross. Thanks for having us. And we have our superintendent, of course, with us online. Hi, Bill.
Good evening.
Thanks for coming. All right, are you ready to move to the pledge?
Yes.
Awesome. Let's do it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sure, you guys have been really busy. So it's great. I'm excited.
Yeah, so thanks for giving us this opportunity to speak with you and give you guys updates. We'll just move along on the agenda. So we have community forum Q&A is next up on the list. We don't have anybody in the room, but we can go online. If anybody's interested in unmuting and have any questions or any statements for either board, please feel free to unmute and try to stay on topic and maintain decorum. So if you're interested, please raise your hand. All right. Going once. Going twice. Sold. All right. Thank you for joining us and for listening in, and hopefully this conversation is informative for all. All right. Moving on then. Item number 4, joint business, school building committee chair update and discussion. Yes. So. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so the purpose of this is really to allow our boards both the opportunity to discuss the development of the projects that we're working on behalf of the town, and give you guys the opportunity to ask questions, provide input, provide feedback, and that's basically it. So we'll give you a little summary of where we're at. Let me see if I can share screen.
Can we seat Michelle?
Is Michelle on?
Yeah.
She's on.
Yeah, make a motion to seat Michelle in place of Peter Reagan.
Thank you. I'll second that. Michelle, can you hear us okay?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, beautiful. All right. All those in favor of seating Michelle, please say aye.
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 Please. Aye. Yep. All right. Thank you. Sorry I missed you, Michelle.
No worries.
So what I'm going to do, we also have with us tonight Scott Fellman with colleagues project leaders, and Jeff Wazinski and Antonio Ciavarella from Tecton Architects, who are also available to help us answer any questions you may have. And what I'm going to do, if I can get my Zoom back up, is is share the presentation that we had. We had a community conversation event last week at the library. It was quite informative, and it really gives a good sense of our latest and greatest project development as well as budgetary impacts. So, Lisa, just had a share request to you, please.
It didn't pop up.
Try it again.
You did.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Minimize all of this stuff. Hey, jackpot. Does this look familiar to you, Jeff?
It does.
All right. Why is that not updating? Try this one more time. There we go. All right, everybody can see that, I hope. Wonderful. So the team, and thank you, Jeff and Antonia, again, for doing a really good job last week, Jeff. It was very informative. We'll go through this just as kind of an overall summary and highlights. If you guys have questions along the way, I haven't whittled this down at all, but if you have questions along the way, feel free to jump in. I think that's okay for all, right? Wonderful. This is also available for anybody listening online. This is also available up on the SBC's website. Feel free to view at your own pleasure. So, Jeff, do you want me to take the lead on this, or just 6 one, half a dozen the other?
Sure. So this slide should be familiar to you all. It was presented, I think, at the first community conversation, and again at the second one. There's 3 main options that we've been studying at length. The additions and renovations to the Hall Memorial Middle School. To be a pre-K to 8, you see along the top there the percentages of estimated reimbursement or probable costs, and then the impact or the cost to the community itself. So the additions and renovations in the purple color is about 9.43 cost to Willington. The new construction on the existing site goes through the same process, total project costs in the mid-90s, 93 to 95 for reimbursement, and then the cost to Willington 9.84, and then new construction on what essentially is a new site. There's 3 parcels that the building committee's been looking at length and doing due diligence. And a couple of questions that came up, rightfully so, at both of the community conversations is the land included in this cost? And the answer is yes. And as long as you follow the rules from the state to appraisals, independent appraisals, they'll reimburse you on the higher one. So we think that's all lined up, and Scott's going through that process and working with the building committee on that now. So the cost for that is $9.96 million to Willington. So there's a wide variety. On the next slide, I believe we get into kind of benefits and challenges, and I won't go over the entirety of the list, but I think the main takeaway, at least from this slide, is when you're looking at the options, is new construction obviously alleviates some of the phasing and logistics concerns. Construction, although we heard from the community on both sides of the equation, it could be a kind of a learning experience to be in a renovation or an addition renovation project so that the students can learn, but it also is quite disruptive to the educational environment. It's likely going to be 3 to 4 years of construction, phase occupied construction. So it is sometimes painful, and you're paying a premium for the extended duration of construction because of the escalation. So that's the biggest difference when you look at that compared to the new construction. Obviously, new construction on the existing site has more phasing and logistics challenges related to it because you're still dealing with an occupied site. The further you get away on the new site, or the proposed new site, the three parcel site, that goes away. So there's ultimate, what it does, the far right option gives you the future flexibility from like a campus planning design perspective from the town. So long-range planning, I think it could open up some opportunities. And then the other big takeaway that I think we were crystal clear, and Scott's been clear at some of the building committee meetings as well, is the renovate as new status is not a given. It's part of the grant application. So that's a risk that we want to make sure that everybody in the community understands going into the grant application. So,
Yeah,
sure.
So and in my understanding, based on my extensive listening to all the time you guys have had, that we won't know if we're approved until it's like almost too late. Is that true?
Correct. You won't, the state will not comment on a renovation project or any project until you submit your grant. That's their new process since the change in leadership. So you pick your project, submit your grant, and then if there's any questions, like in this case it would be a renovate as new, you would have to submit that package, and it's a fairly large bit of information. But the key is the architect would have to certify that it's cheaper to build new than to renovate. Or cheaper to renovate,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, than to build new. They're neck and neck, they're so close. You know, could the state agree to it? Possibly, but it's not guaranteed. We can't comment, you know, we've reached out to them in the past and said, you know, communities would really like to know an answer on this so they can make an informed decision in a referendum. The state says, no, we do after. But again, our indications are it would be more expensive. Certainly, you know, it limits the fields you're going to have in that option. You know, you're still just going to have kind of the existing site. Your parking actually has to move onto the existing fields, so it actually takes away area because you're putting the addition on now where your parking is, versus the new build option. That one, you're able to maintain at least one field on the site, and then the option with the new site where you get almost the existing campus turns into almost like a park with you know, a soccer field, a baseball field, softball field, a little parking area to support that connected to the new facility.
And I'll just add, one of the goals of one of our SBC's real priorities was to get answers to as many questions before putting anything before the town for a vote, which is why we pursued special legislation, eliminating the need for a space waiver discussion, you know, so that we understood what the reimbursement rate is that we're going into. This is one of the few questions we can't answer. So we just want to be very clear that there is that remaining risk for that one project option.
That's a scary question.
So.
So I think it's important that people know that's a risk.
All right. So we'll fly through this a little bit more quickly, but I'll kind of segue into this, Jeff, and you can jump in. So while not a project we're developing, we are working to analyze and evaluate what the cost would be to repair the schools should a consolidated school project not be advanced by the town. And that builds on the work that the Board of Ed did with a prior architectural firm. We did a pretty comprehensive facilities condition assessment. So what we tasked our team with for this was really to hone this down to the highest priority repairs. They were tier 1, tier 2, you know, really critical infrastructure, ADA, code compliance, that sort of stuff. Take those costs and then figure out how that could possibly be implemented over time. So it's those 2024 figures, and Jeff can kind of walk through. Here's the priority 1, priority 2, and 5 priorities, 5 tiers of priority. So ultimately the phase 1 and phase 2, in 2014, it was identified as $41.9 million of construction costs, essentially, of which, because these are repairs, they aren't reimbursed at the same high rates that we have now. So
some of the projects aren't eligible at all. Many of them, can't see the number, but I think it's around 13 million, are eligible for what's called non-priority projects, so roofs, windows, those kinds of projects, and they're at a much reduced effective reimbursement rate. So that's just something that is certainly something you can do. It's just going to be less state reimbursement from it.
And then also factoring the fact that this is not stuff that's going to happen all at once as one big project, right? It's gonna have
That's
to be finished over
essentially,
time.
yeah, this exercise was to kind of peel it apart, take only the priorities, put them into, categories, which the original report did, and then spread them out over a 10-year implementation, because you're not going to do all of these projects at once. So we were trying to provide some reasonable metrics to, if the community did have to go this route, this is the avenue that you could take to implement some of these projects. So left side is center, right side is hall, and when you do the math, you can see your effective reimbursement rate drops down quite dramatically to about 35 to 40%. So you're end up paying more out of pocket. Just that's the way it works. That's why the state has these priority grant, school construction grant applications. That's for projects like these. And that's why they have renovate as new status, so that you can get reimbursement on all of it. So you're doing the right thing by looking at the various different options. This is an avenue. It's just going to be less reimbursement. So.
And the impact of escalation over time, nothing gets cheaper as time goes on, as this community is very well aware. So, you did a good job of capturing appropriate levels of escalation, built that over time. So as you'll get into this later on, we had kind of a debt servicing schedule done for this as well, as part of a comparison against the existing, the three proposed consolidated school options. What that looks like is essentially 3 bond events over that 10-year period. Assuming that we're going to have to bond, implement the works over several years, and then bond again to do the next tranche of projects. So this is just for the breakdown of the types of improvements that are captured. You can kind of see the split. This is center school, but it's building systems, building security, building envelope, code, and you start to see the buckets and how that breaks out in a phased implementation.
And those buckets are the same, so it's the same structure as the 2024 original report. So if you really want to go back and look at all the detail, that's how it was organized. Yep.
And then this is all, so same difference, but the summary graphic is, you're looking at about $60 million over a 10-year period for the town in repair that this rephase and implement. And that's town cost, not project cost. The project cost is greater. So the town share would be about $60 million.
And that's only priority 1 and priority 2. There's 3 more priorities that were not factored in.
Correct, yeah. So.
Does that include making center ADA compliant? I think that was.
So accessibility is included in this list. The accessibility compliance would likely be through a combination of physical improvements to get you access, but also code modifications, because some of them are technically infeasible is the way that the code reads. So the short answer is yes, but it would be a combination of, we'd have to rearrange this entire portion of the building in order to get the compliance. So we're going to ask for a code mod. So it doesn't necessarily, it brings you up to code compliance. It doesn't necessarily help the person that can't navigate that space.
Thank you.
Sure.
That's the point. All right.
So this is just a basic summary of the benefits and challenges, and just simplified as far as construction duration, community use, long-term value, and future flexibility. So we were just trying to kind of summarize the conversations that we had with the building committee and the community with the first few conversations that we had. So.
All right. And then the fun part of the evening, we looked at how we can structure, given those project budgets that were developed by the team, with financial advisor assistance, we looked at how we could structure the financing of the project of any of the projects for the town in a way that is the most cost advantageous and that minimizes the tax burden moving forward. So the strategies we worked through is that the town has put aside, as I'm sure you're aware, several $million now towards a capital project work at the schools. That is slated to continue for one more year. I think there's $3.6 million in there now, roughly, with another $1 million slated through CIP to be invested into that account. So we wanted to leverage and utilize that to offset the costs to the town for any of the projects until such time as the future consolidated school would become operational. And the reason that was done is it was to allow the operational savings that are anticipated both in staffing and in building operations and maintenance. It would allow us as a community, to be able to realize those savings, which would offset the long-term bond costs to the town and thus reduce the impact. So these are all structured to utilize that reserve savings. We run out of that funding 2031 on any of the scenarios, any of the consolidated school scenarios. And then at that time, the building would be operational. Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, but any of the new building on the whole site or the new building on the new property would be available for operation in the fall of 2030.
Yes.
And the renovate to new, the addition renovation or all option, because of a longer construction duration, would be 2032. So what?
There would be site work that would continue on, but this is specific building only.
Yeah.
So if it was, if it was new build on the existing site, the existing building, something's gonna have to still be done there. So there is like about another year in some of these projects, but what he's talking about is building only.
So we could
That means
occupy it. Correct? We could occupy it?
Yes.
Okay, that was my question. Kids in school, right?
Yes, kids in school.
Jim, one thing, bullet 3 under number 3 assumes full enrollment growth to 519. If not met, additional operational savings apply. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? I'm sure there's people online who'd like to hear that.
Yeah, so I think the goal of the committee is, like, the fair way, I'll speak to myself personally, I think the fair way of presenting these figures or any of this data to the town is to present the most conservative options that we have available at the time, meaning specifically with the enrollment growth. And Phil, you're still on, right? So we can speak to this. So we asked the Board of Ed and Phil help you guys pull that together. So thank you. But Phil generated 2 scenarios, right? One, operational savings should our current enrollment be maintained. So operational savings, if we were to go from 2 schools to 1 today, those savings are greater than the figures that we're projecting now. Because if enrollment grows to 519 per the enrollment projections we have, the larger enrollment, the larger student size basically needs slightly more staffing to accommodate that. So I think the difference is where we carried up the lower of the 2 numbers, so operational savings of $370-something thousand should we hit full enrollment of 519 as projected, right? If in today's world with the enrollment we have currently, those savings are closer to $700,000 out of the Board of Ed operation budget. So we went, oh, sorry, it's our next slide, I forgot it was in there. So there you go, John.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So the scenario 2, the option on the right, is the more conservative of these savings identified. That's if we hit full enrollment growth of 519 students, which is what's projected based on the enrollment projections we have. So I was close on the numbers.
Zoom in a little.
No, I'm in presentation mode, and if I do that, it's going to throw everything off, so we're not going to do that. Okay.
So there.
There you go. So a couple of other notes. There are other things that are conservative in the way this is presented as well. The project budgets that have been developed obviously carry a contingency, and that the pricing that you see would assume that we wind up having to expend the entirety of that contingency. That's for unforeseen things, changes that happen during the design and construction process, but it's the appropriate way of budgeting for a project. Because of the unknowns, you have a certain level of design and construction contingency to capture the budgets, and the budgets that colleagues have put together for us capture that. It is not common, at least Scott has said this, it is not common that he sees budgets that fully expend that contingency. So there is opportunity that the total project costs will not expend all of that, and we may have additional savings to the project. What are the other things I listed in here? It assumes the lowest possible reimbursement rate. We could, for any of the new options, get 95% reimbursement. We're capturing 93.33 because that is the lowest available state reimbursement that we have confirmed for the two new, completely new building options. So there are lots of opportunities for this to fall even further in our favor, but we can't guarantee it. So we're not presenting that to the community in that fashion now. Does that?
Sure, yes.
I stepped all over that, but.
Thank you.
Jim, if I may, at the last meeting, I clarified that we had included 5% of ineligible costs of the overall project, which actually is a very conservative, but until contingencies, for example, is considered ineligible until it's applied to something, then the state determines, yes, this is an eligible cost or it isn't an eligible cost. So again, just building on the numbers presented are very conservative, and we've assumed by the 5% of ineligible construction that in essence almost all of the contingency expenditures could be ineligible for reimbursement. That will not be the case, but until they're applied to something, we don't know. The state says, till it's applied to something, you consider it ineligible. So again, another layer of conservative, we feel that the final number will be better than what has been presented.
Thank you, Scott. All right. So what does that all mean, bottom line? And do you guys have a copy of this in your packets? Well, this is also available up online, and I don't think we have it printed. So long story short, they're right around here. Thank you.
Where's your fancy posters?
They're coming. So what we did was we took all of that data. So you'll see the 4 project options. Now the layout on those is a little different. That was based on just printing needs and timing. So the order of the options on that flyer is a little different. But long story short, you have the 3 consolidated school options. New school on new site, new school on the whole site, addition, renovation, and HMS. So those are the 3 projects being developed by this committee. Takes the total project cost. I'm not going to read this verbatim, but long story short, the debt servicing, we tried to produce the worst year of the financing need for any of these project options. For the new school on the new site, that wound up being 2032. The HMS, the new school on HMS and the addition renovation at HMS, based on the way that the financial advisor structured the debt, the highest year of impact is 2033. And keep this in mind that there's 0 impact because of the capital reserves being utilized until 2032. So factoring in the highest bond or debt servicing annual cost of the town, after all these offsets, meaning the operational savings through staffing, the operational savings through building efficiencies and other budgetary items that Board of Ed carries, the fact that we're retiring $1 million that transfer from in CIP that transfer to the reserve fund for the schools goes away after 1 more year. So those are all positive budgetary impacts related to this project. So we're including those as offsets. And ultimately, out of all 3 options, after all is said and done, actually wind up having a reduction in the budget of a significant amount. Anywhere from 464,000 to 675 based on the latest data that we have at this time. And those are real world savings, right? I think, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Mike will post this week. The business office is working to come up with an analysis for what that mill rate reduction means to the average homeowner in town. It's several $100s of savings annually for any of the 3 consolidated school project options. Compared to the far right column on this phase, where if we had to go with that $60 million town cost phase repairs over time, it is a significant, it's obviously more expensive, and results in, I think Mike said something around an $800 a year increase in people's taxes for the average homeowner here in Willington. So that's what we're trying to avoid. That's why we're here and doing this work, because there's no way to avoid a negative impact if we have to implement phase repairs based on the data that we have here. And even if, I mean, we're conservative with that as well. We only did priority 1 and priority 2. Even if we only got a quarter of that done, it's still more expensive to the town than any of the consolidated project options. So that's why this is kind of important. This is why we're trying, this is why we're doing the work, and this is why we're pushing for it. The important thing is really just, in my mind, just making sure that this community takes advantage of this really once in a lifetime opportunity for the town at these reimbursement rates that the special legislation is afforded. Because the alternative is not a pretty picture. So, any questions? No? All right, I'm going to take that as a sign I'm doing a good job. So, I'm going to go right to you for these.
Sure, and I'm going to go over them fairly quickly. So this slide you've seen before, so just top left of this slide is what's currently included, obviously the septic system, on-site septic, and then solar, so photovoltaics for the project have been included to the tune of about $2.5 million in the budgeting. On the right side of this slide, we were doing an analysis and we had a discussion about geothermal systems and building systems and how that all would tie together and what the cost would be, what the premium cost would be to that. So that's the original slide. The next slide is we were asked to look at a comparison of base building systems. So these are mechanical systems in a building. So they're about 30 to 40% of the overall costs of a project when you start looking at it. The baseline in the gray, and there's some numbers up there, but the baseline was basically a gas-fired propane boiler and chiller. So the initial cost is about 8.6. Then we were to look at 2 other systems. One's an all-electric system that we've seen in a lot of buildings across the state, the region, the Northeast, VRF and VRV. So that's basically what's called an air source heat pump. And then the last option we looked at was chilled beams tied to a geothermal system. So there's a lot of different combinations in between all of these options, but we were just trying to keep it as clean as possible. The reason why we provided this chart is to show you that the utility rebates, depending on the options, can be quite considerable. Those typically come at the end of they do come at the end of a project once it's audited, likely a year after operation. So nothing for the baseline system, about $400,000 to $500,000 for the VRF, VRV air source, and about $800,000 for the chill beam. So it's real dollars. When you start looking at it, many of the projects that both Scott and I are working on or independently, most of the communities take advantage of these utility rebates in one way, shape, or form. So the analysis continues to go on in this chart. The premiums, the initial cost, well, it's the initial cost less the reimbursement, and then we started looking at energy costs per year. So how much are your utility bills going to be for each one of these systems, and essentially getting to what is a payback. So when you apply like a 90-something% reimbursement to the cost of these systems, your payback's less than 2 years for any, the most extreme system. So the math definitely changes because of all that. The icing on top is the rebates from the utility company. Now, it was pointed out at the last community conversation, this is all this analysis is in a vacuum set apart from the photovoltaic systems. So if you tie one of these any one of these systems together, I guess an all-electric system really, anything that doesn't use fossil fuel, you likely will become close to net neutral. We didn't do the calculation as far as your utility bills, okay? So it's out there. It doesn't need to be decided today or prior to the discussion for grant referendum. But these are options that you would explore as you move through the process. So we just wanted to be responsive and to some of the comments we heard.
So, yeah, before you jump off that, I kind of tossed you a little bit, Scott. So geothermal is an ongoing discussion for the SBC, right? We are considering, because of the practical advantage of reducing operational savings, reducing operating costs for any consolidated school project. It is something, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, that because of the way the rebate's structured, do we have to address it prior to the town improvement funding so that we can capture it?
Yes, because, yes. Yeah, it needs the total cost prior to a rebate needs to be included in the bonded amount and in the project budget to the state. Because the rebate is going to tail after the building's fully operational, the commissioning's done, you've proven the building is functioning as designed. So the rebate could be a year after you open. So you're gonna have to bond that money, you're gonna have to pay the contractors, that should be part of the state cost. But again, in this case, you're gonna be getting close to 93 cents on the dollar for that system, and that's why the payback is so advantageous, because you're only paying 5 to 7% of the actual cost. And to recoup that 5 to 7% with the efficiencies that you're seeing with these systems is very quick.
So, in summary, it is something when we're still obviously data collection, we're looking for community input on, you'll see in a bit, we have some upcoming events and polling for the community to kind of help us to provide feedback as to which of the project options they prefer, individuals prefer. But there will be an update for the selected option that incorporates whatever our final decision on as a committee, whether or not to capitalize, include cost of geothermal. We'll capture that in the final numbers before it goes to referendum. So there will be an update to both the budget and the debt servicing schedule. We're playing in the margins, essentially, with it. We're not looking at, it's not going to be dramatic changes, but there will be updates. I just want to let everybody be aware of it. Given the work that goes into it, we have to make a decision on energy efficiency as a committee, and then we have to capture it as desired.
Hey,
Sorry.
Jim,
Yes, sir.
is that, is the geothermal still a consideration for the reno ad or only new building?
It can be for all three of the consolidated options.
Okay, thanks.
It's just the logistics to find the location for a bore field would be challenging, but it's possible.
Yeah.
You say didn't you guys say that there would be less wells too or something if it was
Likely would be less wells with a entirely new building because you can maximize the building efficiency. When you're renovating a building, you're probably be less efficient with the renovation. So you probably have more wells. It would be challenging, but it's possible to put on that site.
And I think just for clarity, what we're talking about here is what's called a closed loop system. So there is no interactions with groundwater or anything is being discharged or mixed. It's just a tube in essence that goes down deep, hundreds of feet into the ground, captures the cold earth temperature within a liquid, within a closed tube, brings it back up, and then they use that chilled liquid to heat and cool the building by extracting and pulling the heat out pulling the cold out of it. So I know some people are concerned about ground contamination and anything else associated with that. This is a completely closed system.
That's a good point.
Good point.
One question that I have, when I look at the column energy cost per year, the top one, that 188K per year, is that including the propane cost?
Yes, yep.
So we can expect that to go up by 4% every year.
Yeah, the cost modeling that the engineers did projected it out for a life cycle cost. So we did analyze the increase in utility costs across the board for all three, but.
And with the other two, that's electricity cost.
Yeah, yep.
And the solar power will provide, in the case of the second one, the solar power will provide the lion's share of that electricity, and the solar power that we're considering that's already in the project would exceed the chilled beam energy expense.
That's correct, yes. And then to that end, this slide really just provides the detail. I think there was a question related to the size of the array, the photovoltaic array. So in the green horizontal line there, it just provides the math. So the state of Connecticut has not adopted the new building code as of yet. They were supposed to over the summer and didn't, but I would suspect that that's coming soon, and which is going to require some level, not the level that we're showing, but some level of photovoltaic on projects, so by code. So anyways, so the green is really what the size you have there. It's about a 620 kilowatt system is what's priced for about $2.5 million.
Okay. Thank you.
Provides the backup to you. Sure. And then I think I will go quicker because there's a lot of math and I guess it's hard to see. So we were also asked what happens to the other, to Center Elementary or to any building if we were to not reuse the structure. So we looked at Center Elementary first. This option is showing about a $2.8 million cost related to just demoing it, demoing the building, leaving the play fields, making it basically community use. So we wanted to provide that as a rough order of magnitude for demolition. The next slide shows two possible options. Left side shows office light use. Right side shows adaptive reuse for possible senior housing or some kind of housing. So the right side number is 16.4 million. So it's more because there's a lot more infrastructure, toilets, showers, things like that when you get into housing. On the left-hand side, light office use, where we see a lot of former school buildings turned into office light use. It's a lighter use from a building code perspective. You'll still need to address certain things, but it allows for some, I guess, lighter renovations, lighter touch on the renovations than a educational facility would require. So that's at $8.2 million.
And just as a point, I think we made the point in the community conversation as well. This center remains an asset for the town, right? It's a structure. And there are several years still before any consolidated project comes online, meaning we're talking like 2031 before we have the ability to do anything with it, not as a school. So there's several years that this community has to kind of come up with and discuss and debate what to do with center. These are only a handful of representative options because that was part of our charge as a committee, was to look at what these costs could be from a high level rough order of magnitude perspective. There are probably 50 other things we could do with these buildings as well. We could also just sell it. So it's a larger discussion that is, quite frankly, not the role of the SBC to determine what the town does with these buildings. That is a town decision, that is a community decision. So those discussions will have to happen over the coming years, but we do have time as a community to figure that out. The other option, you talked about carrying costs.
So yeah, that came up, we don't have a slide for it, but it came up at the last community conversation and at the building committee meetings, and we were estimating anywhere from about $75,000 to $100,000 a year for carrying costs, snow removal, lawn maintenance, making sure the buildings has security, some level of temperature control. So it's minimal cost related to just keeping it, I guess, slightly warm, dry, and safe. I would say warm.
I believe the term was mothball.
Mothball.
I was trying to avoid saying that.
But yeah, and that obviously wouldn't happen until such time as the school is no longer a school in 2031, 2032.
Yeah.
It's not reimbursable.
Years.
That is true.
To demo, it's not reimbursable.
Correct.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, it's not reimbursable.
It's not reimbursable.
That is correct. It is not reimbursable. None of the options that we're showing there, nor do the numbers reflect any kind of reimbursement. There's other kinds of grants and SIF grant, other state agencies that might be able to provide assistance, but not the state of Connecticut School Construction Authority. So the next few slides are the same type of analysis, but for Hall Memorial Middle School. So adaptive reuse of the building, the entirety of the building to office use. So it's bigger building, a slightly bigger challenges related to the age, condition, those kinds of things. So you're seeing a larger number. It's about $36 million for that when you start looking at that analysis. And then the next...
And before you jump off there, but to be clear, the 3 consolidated school project options that we have take this off the table.
Yeah, so the 2 new
yeah,
include the demolition of the building in its entirety, and that is all reimbursable.
correct.
And then the addition renovation, or the renovate as new, obviously would be selected demolition, but also a renovation. So all of that is reimbursable.
And that was one of the key, I guess, differences in the work this time around, is that all of the project options incorporate the use of the whole site. Specifically because that work then becomes reimbursable at these high reimbursement rates, and it basically is cost avoidance of a picture like this. So that's why those options were presented that way, to avoid carrying costs or holdover costs of having to do something.
It's a strategy that many communities look at to basically flip the sites and get rid of the or remove the original, or a large portion of the original building, just because it is reimbursable. This is the last slide that, so again, it's response to a few comments that I think we received from the community along the way. What if, how could you preserve portions, or maybe just the original portion of the Hall Memorial Middle School? So that's what this graphic represents. So it's the basically the removal of about 43,000, preserving 24,000 square feet of the original building. Basically the usable area on that, we were in the range of 19,000 square foot of usable area. So this could, at least this diagram shows it as possible reuse as the Willington Public Schools central office or related functions to the school. If you do that, if this is an option, the state does reimburse for those at half of your base reimbursement. So it's something as an alternative that could give you an option to continue the legacy if you didn't want to. There's many other things you can do with new buildings or renovations where you can preserve the architectural character or incorporate those features into the design, but this was more specific to, I think, a question that came up at one of the building committee meetings, so we wanted to show you what the possibility and what it would look like. So that's what that map does.
Jeff, if I may though, I think it's important to note that the state in that scenario at half the rate would not pay to renovate that entire 19,000 square feet. They would look and say, what does the central office really need for area? And only that portion of the building would be reimbursed. So, compared to what, currently the central office occupies, certainly there would be a lot of additional square footage there that would require renovation, but that would not be funded by the state.
If there was an auditorium in there, would that be reimbursable?
No.
No.
You'd have to tie it to some educational program.
Performative arts or something.
I'm sorry?
Performative arts or something like that.
We have to be more connected to the school.
It
It
would.
couldn't stand in
Yeah, it
isolation
would.
like that.
We're bringing this up only because other communities have incorporated and gone through various different iterations of this with, you know, extra gyms, special ed offices, central special ed offices, something to fill the space.
And it's not clear how much, if any, the state would pay for the demolition of the addition back to the original building. They'll pay for it if you're demolishing the whole building because you're putting an athletic field there to support curriculum, to support the middle school. If you took off the addition, which is the back half with the gym and everything else up to the original building, if you put a field right there, I think there's a good argument that the state would say, you tore that down and put a field there, we'll pay for that demolition. It gets a little gray in, okay, you've torn the building off, now what about the exterior wall of the existing building, are you gonna pay to restore that? I think there'd be a good argument for it, but I don't think we could really guarantee that until we got into those conversations.
So, long story short, we're trying to be responsive to comments from the community, right? And explore, this is something, should there be interest in the community, this is something the SBC can develop, can continue to work for and explore, whether there's special legislation needed, similar to what we've done now. These are all things that can be explored. Should one of the project options be selected that allows for this, and by that I mean this really only works on the new school in the said version, right? So if that's the project option that gets advanced and that the community supports at referendum, you know, this is something that can be maintained as an exploratory effort by the SBC and see where it falls.
We would have several years potentially to explore that before we.
Yeah, we need to understand, we obviously need to have an understanding of it for scope of what we're doing for field space for the project, but I think we'll get answers faster than you think, or at least proceed down a path as part of the design.
It wouldn't have to follow the same path, but it would have to follow a similar path. Because you'll be making decisions, presumably making decisions that would impact that, yep.
All right.
When we talked about the geothermal, and you mentioned that that new figure, including the cost of the geothermal, would we have to readjust this number before the referendum?
Yes. Yeah, there'll be an update for a selected option, and we'll work with these guys to make sure that the math is mapping, and that it's the latest and greatest, because we want to make sure, again, we're doing our due diligence, we want to make sure as a committee that we're putting forth. So.
Yeah, we'll need to make sure that the ed spec at least addresses that the project should consider geothermal, but that's in the ed spec.
All right, so important dates. So the calendar that we have is littered with things for the next 2 months, but we are targeting a September 29th referendum. But there are a lot of dates leading up to that, the first of which that are important for the community are Tuesday, August 4th and Sunday, August 9th, where we are going to do a community polling where people can select options, their preference on which consolidated school project option they'd like to see us advance. That insight, along with all of the data that we've collected, all the feedback we've gotten from our boards as well, the SBC will then utilize that and we'll make a recommendation, because we have to recommend a single project option forward as part of the grant application. We'll be doing that just after. We'll have an opportunity in early September, on September 2nd, for another community conversation discussion that'll really just be focused on the advanced consolidated school option. So it'll be, you know, similar, if you remember the last time it was in Hall, we'll probably do it in Hall School Gym, would be my guess, hoping for significant community turnout and conversation. And then we're looking at public hearing for Tuesday, September 8th, followed by a town meeting mid-September on the 15th, and then obviously the referendum. So a lot of big important dates. And that's where that's at.
Can I just add something to just for food for thought for August 4th and August 9th, based on the conversation tonight? Can we put like a yes or no question if people want geothermal on that polling
We have logistics of it as an agenda item for tonight, so we can go over it. Yes.
Okay, fine, perfect.
The answer is yes. And we'll go into it.
I didn't see it, so.
Yeah, this is our last meeting before those events, so we want to
Yeah.
get some basic logistics out of it.
I just wanted to say too, at the last community conversation, someone made a point about that being those times being very close together, and there was really nothing else that you guys could do. But if there's feedback that folks have, that they were welcome to email you guys prior to that so that their voice can still be heard, but it doesn't necessarily
Yes,
not in the poll.
and that's true at any time. We welcome any feedback, any questions, please just email the committee. I think our website's on the next page. Yeah, email sbc@willingtonct.org. We do track it, get in touch with us, come to a meeting, ask a question. But yes, if you're going to be able to make the 2 polling dates, please send us an email. That will get distributed to the committee, so we will have, while it may not be tabulated in the ranked choice polling, we'll have that input still. We are at the mercy of a very jam-packed calendar between primaries and budget referendums and the like. So there are the dates and the logistics of getting notice requirements, et cetera, and approvals from other town boards all factor into this. So we're making the most of the calendar we have and doing the best we can. That's why we gave two options, one on a weekend, one on a weekday, even if they are closer together than we would have liked. That's how it fell where it did. One other thing to note. So during those polling dates, the superintendent is willing to offer tours by appointment only or by advanced appointment, meaning if you're interested in touring Hall School, that's where the polling will happen, in the library. Please reach out to, thank you. Oh, there you go, to Brianna and I. To just express interest, so there'll be, guided limited access tours. That's further discussion on our agenda tonight as well. Actually, let's just talk about it now, because it's all under the setting of update. So there was expressed community interest in touring the existing schools. The SBC voted at our last meeting to pursue that idea with kind of the insight and approval of the superintendent's office. And I know it was discussed at your last board of ed meeting as well. So we're trying to offer that opportunity so that if you, Phil can speak to it in more detail. Phil, are you still on? Do you just want to kind of run through your thoughts on that? Since you pulled together this graphic.
Yeah, so the purpose of the tour is really to give people a sense of what that spaces of that building looks like right now, particularly we're talking about Hall. They'll see some general education classrooms, they'll see some special education classrooms, get a sense of what the student bathrooms look like. They'll see the library, they'll get to look into the boiler room and IT spaces. And it's a quick loop. There's no elevator in service right now, and so you have to use stairs. But if you contact during the night, we will gladly schedule that tour for you and get you going.
And I'm trying to splash this up on the screen for you, Phil, but it's taking me longer to find it in my.
You don't need to put the map up, Jim, if that's what you're talking about.
No, I was going to put your flyer up.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so we designed it, just tried to pull that date out, or those 2 dates out of the calendar, just because we felt they were critical to polling piece. So we created a flyer here for polling and tours. This is what we threw together, try to keep it simple. This is something that can go out on Facebook or out through the town email and school system. There for your feedback.
Positive feedback from me, Phil. I think it's good. I think it's good to get that out there as well. We can share it as a committee, as part of our polling outreach. and notifications as we roll it out over the next week. So. All right. So that is, with that, I'll stop sharing. Thank you, Phil. So that is a pretty verbose summary of where the SBC is currently at on these project options. I mean, interested in any discussion, comments, thoughts the Board of Ed may have. I'm sure, hopefully you've been staying abreast as we've been going along.
I just want to say thank you very much to the SBC for all of this work. I see you guys at all the meetings. Thank you so much for all your work. I hope collectively we as a town can take advantage of this incredible opportunity. That was a bipartisan effort. I hope that we can kind of keep that in mind, because ultimately we want to do the best thing. Our charge obviously is to do the best thing for the students of Willington. And financial stewardship is also important, so making sure that the cost of whatever project we choose is the most fiscally appropriate for the town. You guys have laid that out all very nicely. So I just appreciate it, and I hope that if folks have questions or want to pull this apart, they're going to come to people and ask the questions that they have.
Thank you, Jeff.
I mean, you have done a lot. You must be tired, but looking at it from my perspective, it's you have checked under every possible stone, and even when it's hard to try really hard to answer questions that were not answered in the last round of SBC that I participated in. So, good job. Trying to have those spots with trying to be able to answer every possible question is impossible. I think people know that, but giving people clear scenarios that could happen is a good way to go about it, I think. So, what else do you need from us?
Well, the next item on the agenda is something we will need for any grant application, but I will just say thank you guys for some of the advanced legwork you did before our committee was even formed as well, with the enrollment projections and things like that. The same goes to you, Bill, but also if there's between now and, well, now and blackout town meeting, if you have any questions or concerns as a board, please reach out, ask them, and we'll do the best we can to continue answering them as they come up. Doesn't have to be tonight.
No, I think the last time that we met all together, that was really helpful, answered a lot of questions I had, and then brought up some more things for me to kind of listen to and ponder and think over since then, so that was helpful. And then coming to the community connection events also has been really good. I like hearing what people ask and what they have to say, because it helps me know what's important to them, and I learn obviously from other people asking those questions, so that's been really good. You're all really doing a wonderful job. The graphic with the faucets is the greatest thing ever. Just put that up everywhere all the time, and everybody be like, oh, got it, okay.
I don't have that one readily at my fingertips, but yes,
I don't know, I'm like, this graphic is amazing.
All right, anything else? Anything to add from the SBC side? Online? No? All right. Want to move along, Phil? I'm going to toss the next agenda item over to you. Board of Education Old Business, educational specifications.
So we sent out the most updated ed specs to the board. You had already seen the changes, so this is the document with all of the changes completed and ready to roll. So you just need action on that document tonight, and that's what we're looking for. I think the only item that was in that document that was in question still, and Scott and Jeff, you can chime in on this. The nurse's office shower. Did we want that in there or not? And I think your answer was no, typically we're not seeing showers in nurse's office.
Elementary level?
Where you don't typically see them,
Yeah.
but if it's in there and you don't do it, there's no harm, no foul.
Right.
So.
I remember,
That would be,
do we have something in a special ed classroom if Anita Rose there? That would be,
I
no,
believe so.
that's not something, okay.
no.
So if it's in there, I agree with Jeff, you might just want to keep it, certainly, as long as it's in there, it's something you can incorporate, but you don't have to.
Okay.
And it's, you're talking about 30 square feet, so,
Yeah.
you know, less than a full handicap.
So the board would just need to act on this most current ed spec, and then that would be your current approved ed spec.
And to be clear, all the work, the committee's been working on this. We've had Jeff, sorry, this isn't a Board of Ed action item, but I just want to be clear for the public that this is the program that has been incorporated in the project options that we're presenting as an SBC. So we have had this documented, just for those listening at home.
Okay, and everything, obviously, that we talked about last time in March is all in there now. You all checked it over, you know. Okay. So we need to, we're making the motion to accept, no, approve?
Approve.
Okay. Yeah, you can, I think we have to say today's date on it.
I approve the Willington Public Schools educational specs presented at the July 27th Board of Education meeting.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving these new updated educational specifications, please say aye.
Aye.
That's everyone. All right, so this is our real official document. Thank you for combing through it with us and making sure we had everything that we needed.
Phil, with that approved now, if you could just make sure you send a copy or finalize and get a copy to the SBC so that we can distribute officially with the correct date. Thank you, sir. All right. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. So now it's our turn. School Building Committee, new business. Preference polling logistics. Jeremy. So there's, let's start. We have the 2 dates, Tuesday from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Those will be, we have a list of, to be eligible to take part in the poll, you need to be a registered voter or have an assessment on property in town with an assessed value of $1,000 or more. So we are going to be checking that in. I know, Mike, if you're still online, I know you're working with the clerk's office to develop, make sure we have that list for the polling dates that we can check off. Perfect.
Yes, it was a topic of discussion this very afternoon in the office.
All right. So we'll have that. We have, we got to come up with the questions. So the next thing in your packet is a draft of kind of the poll question. We talked about doing this as ranked choice so that we can tabulate it that way. I think we need to, I think we need to come up with a consistency in numbering these. So we'll have display material there as well, which we have to generate. So I'm envisioning a 24 by 36 board for each of the 3 consolidated project options. Basically, that gives the site plan, the high-level summary statistics for each thing, and then the budgetary impact that we have, the latest and greatest stuff. And I think we want to call those like option A, B, and C, and then have people rank them 1, 2, 3. So I don't think there's necessarily a need for there to be any defined order on these. I just think we need to make sure that it's consistent. Always sign.
Can I just chime in on something on this?
Please.
Some of the criticism that I've seen from people online is that this committee approached the school building with all of us pushing for a new school and none of us wanting to renovate the schools. We're going to present them here with 3 options that are basically new schools, and nowhere on here is it mentioned renovating the existing schools.
It's number the second option, renovate hall.
Well, renovate hall, but that's not the,
It's an addition.
that's not the same as what they were talking about. They were talking about just leave everything status quo.
That would be
Well,
your,
that's
that'd be your
default.
no vote at referendum,
Right. Yeah.
right?
That's default, and the reason is that is not a consolidated school option.
Okay.
So therefore, that's the default.
Our charge is to develop a consolidated school project. That's our charge.
Yeah, I just wanted
We're providing-
to mention the feedback that we're seeing, so.
We need to put something out that day so that's very clear, that people understand that there won't be an option for do nothing.
For the polling.
For the polling,
For the polling.
and also for referendum polling and we want.
Yeah, the referendum is gonna be one option, yes or no, and the no is the default of we're gonna fix what we
The
have.
no is the phase for Paris, essentially. So yeah, the polling is literally to try to narrow down and get feedback on consolidated school project.
Consolidated school project, which one we should put to referendum. Okay.
So if you guys are okay with that, I think we'll set it as we develop boards. It'll be option A, B, and C, and we'll just assign these, A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And I think just literally make it clear, A, option B, option C, so that people can associate the visual in the room with the option that they're selecting.
Yeah, just put an A, B, and C right before the line.
Yep.
And then I think we should, see what the, a yes or no question on geothermal, to see which way they want to go. If they want to spend that extra,
So we need a board for geothermal then too.
just maybe after the last one, or just, I don't think you got to make so many lines for feedback.
The problem with that is that the savings that it generates to the mill rate impact will change when we do that. If we do that, because of the operational savings potentially. So you would have to have 2 sets of numbers for each of the options then, with operational savings.
They'll all change.
No, I mean, you're just asking, I think the purpose of Jeremy's question is just to get feedback on whether people are
Because
interested.
we have to put it in, when we go for in front of the state, it has to be on that, so.
It has to be built in.
It has to be built in, right? When you go for your
But
grant
then to
application.
tell, we have 3 options. We have air source heat pumps, geothermal heat pumps, or
Which-
the baseline system.
Yeah, it'd be like for each, then, yeah, so you'd have
You'd have another.
3 for A,
Yeah, all
3
three
for
of them.
B,
Yeah,
and 3 for C.
yeah.
Each with its own different operational budget impact cost.
Yeah, no, we don't,
That's a lot.
It's getting too granular.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I
Yeah.
think the building evaluation, the design team will help you determine that as long as we budget for it. But ultimately, the impact to the taxpayers is going to be somewhere between 200,000 and 300,000 to that $9 million number we've presented, if you add geothermal. If you look at roughly 10% of that cost, which would be borne, somewhere 5 to 10% would be borne by the community. So it's probably increasing those numbers only by a couple $100,000,
So
which is
with savings.
very minimal.
with what's budgeted now, what are we carrying?
We're not
What we
carrying,
have budgeted now, what are we carrying?
we're not carrying geothermal, we're carrying
Right,
just.
you're carrying VRF /
Yes.
right, that's what we're carrying now, so we're already carrying the VRF in these numbers. So it's just the add of geothermal.
Right, but we'd have to have the operational cost difference then.
we don't for the purpose of his question, which is just,
It's a yes or no question.
It's a yes or no.
Would you support a geothermal system or not?
Yes, but that
Right.
decision will impact the mill rate in your budget. It will
Yes.
impact it.
and we can, and
can
which we
say
will,
that.
yes, which we can make clear, we will update again to the tune of $200,000 or $300,000 cost to the town, which we'll have to evaluate the operational savings in 1 to 2 year payback expectation.
Okay. Well, I just think that we need to be clear, if we do that, what the savings offset will be in the numbers for the million. So you need to present, because if you're not presenting
Well,
publicly,
that is a good point, because we don't have that yet. We don't have that officially
so,
yet, because we're still evaluating.
right, so these numbers here aren't, if you did choose geothermal, would be different,
Yes.
most likely better.
In
Based on-
theory, it would be better, right?
Yes, in theory.
In theory, this is still,
Potentially.
we're still at worst case
Yes.
scenario at that point.
So, but, yeah, and so, I don't know, I think it's gonna be awfully confusing if we do it, but,
Yeah, again, I think it's our job, once we recommend a project, before we get a budget before the town, to decide whether it's in or not. I think Jeremy's point, and you can override me if I'm stating you're wrong, is just you're just looking for community feedback on how they feel about geothermal.
Exactly.
Generally, not
I know some people,
specific to the project.
I know some people are totally against it, and I know some people that are 100% for it. I mean,
yeah.
I know some towns it's not working at all, and I know some towns it's working great. I mean, so.
So, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, there's definitely some issues. And some-
I mean, I understand that at that point you've got to hire special people if for maintenance or stuff like that for it, which is an associated cost more than, it could be more than a BRF system for maintenance costs. I don't know that. I don't know those answers yet.
So then let me ask this, Jeremy, since we're the body really tasked with understanding those limitations and developing that, we're the ones that have the most informed, or have the access to the professionals that can provide the most informed, decision on that. What, with the community not necessarily having all of that data or all that insight, what's the value of asking the question? Just,
I mean, you guys, we've got it on all those slides, right? It's an option, and that's the cost.
That's true.
It's on those slides you presented them to.
Right, we are investigating it. I think we need to do more investigation to see if it, I think there's a risk with the geothermal system, that we've seen in some other towns. I think that a backup system, if we had resistive heating or some other system in the design that would allow us supplemental if we had an issue. I think with air heat pumps, they're a little resistive usually for it to get too low with the, but something like that, so we have some options. But I think we do need to work with the experts to see the numbers and make a comparison. I think that's the best informed decision we can.
Agreed. We're not going to debate the merits of geothermal tonight and whether or not that's included in the project. The real question is whether or not we want it as part of the bulk.
I just want to know if it's supported with the town or not. I mean, that's basically.
If it saves us X dollars, I mean, is it a good decision? And it's reliable?
So,
Well, that's.
That's to be found.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd look to leave that up to the taxpayers. That's, there are people, like you say, Jeremy, who are totally against it, and it may or may not be with valid reasons.
in my mind, I think there's a simplicity in keeping it to selecting a project option, like really the purpose of the polling. With that said, if people don't like geothermal, they can write it in the comment, or they can email us at any time. And we're going to have it as an agenda item that we can.
We don't have to do it, right?
Right, you don't have to do it.
We
Right
don't
now you
have
have
to do it.
Right now it's a BRF system.
Right, but we don't have to do it. If we
gotta do.
if we have it in the numbers and we decide not to build it, okay.
But we have to have it in the referendum number if we decide to do it, and the referendum number must be equal to the grant number. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, exact number. So we need to make that decision before the referendum.
Yep. And we will. That is the goal. We're going to have to make it pretty shortly after polling, actually. In all likelihood, we'll work through the mechanics of that schedule with the design team and Scott at Colliers. Okay, so option A, option B, option C, opportunity for feedback as a poll. We have the ability to take that so people can write comments. Is everybody okay generally with this format, rank choice, and the signing options?
Can someone explain how the ranked choice will work?
Okay, so you choose, your you know, you want this one first, that one second, and that one third, okay, and everyone puts it in, and if we all choose the same number one, great, no big deal. It's all the number, it's simple. If we don't have a clear winner with over 50% majority, typically then you go to secondary options and determine, is there one of them higher than the other? So the second, everyone, say 80% of people, this was their second choice, then that would be your preferred, that would be the polling result, what people would want, majority of people want.
It's a way, it gives us, again, these are advisory for us, so it's a way of, if the choices are close, of getting into the next, another level of granularity and support.
So the results will be percentages, so is that correct? Or no?
Well, yes, it will be percentages. Your first choice, this was, people chose this as their first choice, percent, this second choice, this third choice.
Okay.
And we can score, you can rank them accordingly, which is the most preferred option.
Okay, I'll see how it plays out.
They
I'll
do
learn
it-
as it plays
They
out.
do it in Europe a lot. It's done in Europe a lot.
Oh, okay.
It's done in Maine.
In some states, yeah. Okay, thank you.
All right, so I will work, I might ask for assistance in just getting some project graphic for each of the options on a single sheet. We have most of that from you already. I think it's really just a matter of making sure that we have something. We can incorporate your graphics that are probably better than the versions I have at a higher quality resolution.
You need a board, or what do you?
Yeah, I think we'll probably do a printed board so that we can have it available for people to look at.
Cards too that we can have.
Coordinate them and make sure it says option A, B, and C, and which one is
Yeah,
which.
we'll work through it with you.
A equals 1.
Right,
2
yeah,
equals B.
whatever.
Yes.
So we'll work with you over the, I don't know what the lead time is on printing, but we'll talk that through.
Yeah, three-ish days, including delivery.
Okay, so we'll have to get working on that quick.
Just let us know what A, B, and C are.
Yeah.
Or wherever you want to do it.
Okay. So that's perfect. We talked about having a table at the library that with like coloring books and stuff for kids, so people have to bring their kids, they can, have a spot to play. There was a community conversation question, is getting more opportunities for kid-friendly events as well, so we'll try to entertain that. Staffing on this, we will need volunteers. I know Mike and Phil are going to be, the tours of the hall are going to be coordinated through Phil's office, but he'll basically be managing the tours of hall. But we will need people there to greet people, to assist during the day. So I will send out an email to the committee. We're going to ask probably PTA and stuff like that as well, maybe even before bed. But just to make sure that we have coverage for a 14-hour day and an 8-hour day, and that there are enough hands there to make sure this thing runs smoothly. So I'll send out an email asking for availability for people to sign up, and do the most you can. I'll take as much as I can as well, but that's really the big coordination item. Do we have the opportunity, Mike, renting like placards or signage for the green, put something out in front of the green, on the town green, or even out front of hall on the day of voting? Do we have any resources on the town side for DPW or something that, or do we have to rent or do something to accomplish that? Just want to make sure people are aware of the polling on the day of and in advance.
The whole sign itself, like there's like the letters in there.
That's a good idea.
Are you asking me a question? It sounded like you asked me a question, but then.
Yes, I'm asking you a question. I'm wondering if the town has resources. We want to make sure that the polling dates are readily noted, like we have a sign on the green, and signs in the hall.
I understand the question. every time it gets asked, there's just more talking after, so I wasn't sure where I was supposed to chime in. Yes, we do have an opportunity. I have one town that might loan us a sign, and we're still trying to track down some others. So not a guarantee yet, but yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mike, for chasing that down.
You're welcome.
Can we use the whole sign?
Phil, is there any?
Just wrote it down. We'll put it out. It's not going to be really large, but we can put it
Yeah,
on the sign there.
Build something and get it out there soon, since we know.
Do we have any signs printed? Do we have some, and they're not that expensive.
I mean, we could, I don't know lead time, or I haven't had those printed before, so I don't actually know.
We just need a sandwich board.
Yeah, like in the, something, the two, what about yay big,
18 by 24, about $6 each.
lead time?
And if we made them multi-purpose, we could maybe use them for the polling as well as for the referendum. So.
Mike, are there any limitations on where we can place, like, small little placard signs on behalf of the town, like you do for referendum vote Tuesday?
There are certainly limits, but there are plenty of opportunities, yes.
Where, do you have a contact on that, John?
For a sign printing, yeah, we do it all the time.
What's the lead time on it?
Typically, they turn around real fast. Well, they'll ship them overnight. We can have them within a week or two.
We get them by.
Oh, we need them a week from tomorrow.
We need them Monday.
We need them Monday? Yeah. You have to pay for a rush job on that.
Okay, but what can we get? Who can we get to investigate? I mean,
yeah, I can certainly take a look with the people that we get signs from.
Someone have a text we want to use? I think we need something because our marketing for this is very limited in the time we have.
So. Yeah, well, thankfully these are out in the mail tomorrow. So people will have this in every mailbox.
So, yeah, what should the sign say? Community conversation 8.4 and 8.9?
No,
that's not a read.
It would have to be a polling event, community poll, consolidated project option. But I think if we can just, I don't know how much value that's gonna. I don't know if we can turn it around. Is what I'm trying to get at.
If we do a rush job, let's see, we need by Monday, basically.
Yeah.
So we can get it up and get it installed.
How does the committee feel about allocating funding?
Are we looking at $6 a piece plus a recipe?
Yeah, I would have to look into what the cost would be. I have no idea what the cost would be right now.
Typically, though, it's said like $6 a piece.
Yeah, signs are typically $6 each if you're buying a bunch of them. If you're buying, say, 100 of them,
okay.
You can get them as low as $6 each. That's $600 right there, plus the brush. You're probably looking close to $1,000, maybe more.
I think there's a risk. Is all I'm trying to say.
I think a sandwich board on the green would be fine.
Yeah, that's what Mike's working on. He's got a lead on one, and he's trying to find others. So I think we can get.
We can build a sandwich board on a 2x4. So it's not that expensive.
I have the sandwich board from the road race that you can just be painted over white, and it's not going to be real professional, but it'll get the point across. It'll look okay. I mean, we have a couple sandwich boards in various locations. Just get them out there. Between that and the flyer, the flyer's going to be on Facebook. The flyer can go out through the town mailer, and the flyer can go out through school. So,
okay.
This will be the plan, this is a big plan.
No. Thank you. Let's table that for a second because you wanted to do.
Too late, I don't want.
Oh no. Want to call her back so you can do it? Okay. So I think we do, why don't you find out, John, if see what the lead time is on, and we have to schedule a special meeting coming up between now and then, so we can figure it out if it's even doable, and let's leave it there. In the meantime, we'll explore as many sandwich board type signs.
So are we looking for then like lawn sign, the lawn sign size 18 by 24?
Yeah, we probably don't need more. We probably need, I don't know how many Mike puts out the SISBO Tuesday, but if we need more than 50, I'd be amazed.
Yeah, probably 20, 25.
Yeah.
Tops.
So see if it's even a viable option after we need them in place quickly.
Yeah.
So if we have to, we can rush through something and come up with just a simple.
Yeah, okay. I'll take a look at that.
We're trying to try graphics, so.
It's not going to be much great.
I mean, just
it's going to be
text, whatever.
Community poll.
Okay.
2 dates.
Okay.
Hall Middle School.
All middle school.
Okay.
We can only fit so much. It's just letting
Right.
people know.
Okay. I just want to make sure we got
It's
that.
not going to be a graphic. It's going to be
No.
show up. Okay.
Well, it should not just say community poll. It should have the subject like school building.
Yeah. Well. Exactly.
Okay.
But we can work through that if it's viable.
Okay.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Otherwise, we will continue to work this out. I'll get an email out. We'll work on signs, placards. I'll get an email out about availability for people to make sure that we can staff these polling dates appropriately. Anything else?
Yeah. Are we going to update this with the A, B, C so that we have printed
The
copies?
ones in the room will. Yes.
Okay, the ones in the room have the. Okay, good.
The big board, whether there's printed copies or not, we'll make sure it's all on the boards.
Okay, but I say if someone they're doing.
Well, we can do printouts of each of the boards too,
So they have it,
so that they have it.
the reference, okay.
Makes sense?
Understood.
Okay, so we'll move right on then. SBC financial report. Next up on us, you guys, this is the latest and greatest, and really just provided because we have several invoices that need to be approved. What's not in here is the $25 fee for the library rental. And I think that's just about it. So, as you can see, we're still running a balance of $26,500 approximately. And with that said, let's move right into invoices as a backdrop. First one is an invoice from Willington Architects for professional services through June 30th, 2026 in the amount of $12,475.17, which is all falls in the balance on there, encumbered balance in there. Does everyone want to hazard a motion to approve this line?
I'll make a motion to approve invoice number 49187 from Tecton Architects for the amount of $12,475.17.
I'll second.
Seconded by John. Any discussion? Thank you, Tecton team. All right. We got hybrid, let's just, you want to run a roll call real quick?
Sure.
Thank you. Just to make sure we still have people.
That's it.
Mr. Marshall,
Yes.
Mr. Brothers,
Yes.
Miss Eaton,
Yes.
Miss Rochon,
Yes.
Miss Brago.
Michelle?
Mr. Tia,
Yes.
and Mrs. Zalonis.
Sorry, my phone wasn't working. Yes.
Thank you. Motion passed unanimously.
All right, thank you very much. Next up is an invoice from Langen for professional services from May 23rd, 2026 to June 26th, 2026 in the amount of $5,500. This is invoicing for the
Phase one.
Thank you. Phase 1 ESA on the new properties, which we do have the final version of. So this is just basically pays out our coverage on it.
We have that, we have it.
It's already in here, yep. It's,
No, we have their,
yes, we do have it. If it's not, I believe, I may have to share it.
I haven't seen it, so that's why I'm asking.
We do have it.
Yep.
We have them both. You posted it. I don't think it's been shared because you have it up on your.
I posted and I sent you a new link again to distribute to the committee.
I will do that. I have not done
last
that
week.
yet, but yes, we do have it. Nothing, unexpected or mind sharing.
Yeah, I'll provide an update on the site due diligence quickly.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the invoice number 1740, #901022211 from Langen, in the amount of $5,500.
So I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? No? Let's do a roll call again, Lisa, please.
Mr. Zelonis?
Yes.
Mr. Tehan?
Yes.
Ms. Rago?
Yes.
Ms. Grosjean?
Yes.
Ms. Eaton?
Yes.
Mr. Brothers?
Yes.
And Mr. Marshall?
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have an invoice from R.F. Haggerty and Associates for appraisal services in the amount of $3,000. So, we'll make a motion on this, but I will say that we did receive the appraisal. Why it's proof of payment, why Scott marked it proof of payment. However, because it is a component of the purchase and sale agreement that is being worked out, it needs to be addressed in executive session initially. So we do have it, they have completed that appraisal, their scope of work is complete. We do have to schedule a special meeting to go over the purchase and sale, because we got notice at the selectman's office. We're trying to set that up for Thursday evening. We can confirm that once we get through these invoices, but just putting that out there. So with that said, anybody want to make a motion on this one?
I'll move that we approve the invoice from RF Haggerty and Associates. I don't see it. Okay, invoice number 7827 in the amount of $3,000.
Second. All right, one more roll call, Lisa.
Mr. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Brothers? Ms. Eaton?
Yes.
Ms. Grosjean?
Yes.
Ms. Rago?
Yes.
Mr. Tan?
Yes.
And Mrs. Zelonis?
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. All right, and last up, we have an invoice from Pullman and Conley, attorneys at law. This is for professional services rendered related to the purchase and sale agreement that the selectman's office has been working through with them and with the seller. For their consultation time and their legal services through June 30th, 2026. So I will hazard a motion on this one. I'm going to make a motion that we approve invoice number 461799 from Holman and Comley, attorneys at law, in the amount of $2,226 for professional services rendered through June 30th, 2026.
I'll second that.
All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Lisa, last one, I promise.
Mr. Marshall?
Yes.
Mr. Brothers?
Yes.
Ms. Eaton?
Yes.
Ms. Grosjean?
Yes.
Ms. Rago?
Yes.
Mr. Tehan?
Yes.
And Mr. Zelonis?
Yes.
And that's unanimous as well.
Yes, understood. I got it. I was just.
All right, thank you very much, everybody.
Did we miss one?
No, that's the backup for the reimbursable lines on Tecton's invoice. That's Jim.
I had the same question. I thought that's what it was. I was just double checking.
All right. Last up, update on site due diligence. We can probably make this quick, but I'll let Scott take that over.
Yeah, I think we can make this very quick. So you just approved the invoices, we did get the appraisal, both site due diligence on the existing parcel and on the potential land purchase have both been completed. Again, I've downloaded those out of the share files. Like Jim, if you have a problem with that, let me know. I'll send you an updated link tomorrow. On the new parcels, there was nothing identified in the phase 1 ESA report of any areas of concern. So I'll just state that, reading from their summary. My understanding from Mike today is that the land has been cleared to the pass for the geotechnical work. I reached out to the engineer on Friday, had a conversation with him, emailed him again this morning as a follow-up, waiting to hear back. It most likely they may not be out there until sometime early next week. In the time we were coordinating this and getting the land filled up, unfortunately his schedule filled up a little bit as well. And then as far as the septic evaluation goes, we've coordinated with the health department. They're ready. We've got, the project is on their file now. They're ready to go. So I've just got to work with Mike, get the machine scheduled. They've got a fairly open schedule this week. So we want to try and get that septic evaluation done prior to the end of the week. So things are progressing.
Excellent. And thanks for coordinating all that.
Can I give a couple updates on that?
Yeah, please.
Tentative schedule for the sanitarium could be as early as Wednesday or Thursday of this week, but have not been able to confirm yet with the excavator operator or anything else. So I'm not sure we can do it that quickly. I think it logistically might be too fast to get it scheduled, but certainly in the next few work days, we should be able to pull it together. And yes, confirm the land clearing is all done and we verified all the locations. And yeah, I guess that was it about the land.
All right, great. Relatedly, part of due diligence is purchase and sell. So, Mike, again, he's, I haven't sent it yet because I didn't want to get it in a joint meeting. We wanted to make sure we kept the confidentiality of these documents. We need to schedule a we need to schedule a special meeting. Mike, I think you're hoping to act on purchase and sell potentially at your next meeting on the 3rd?
That would be nice.
So it's going to be a discussion in the executive session because it deals with obviously sale negotiation and the details of that as well as the appraisal. So we were looking at getting it in there before that Monday date. The town calendar is pretty clear for Wednesday and Thursday. However, Wednesday I can't get a notice posted in time to do it now. So Thursday evening, 7 o'clock. I want to make sure we have enough people. I'd like to have as many people as possible. It's a big discussion.
That should be a fast meeting, correct?
I don't think it'll be an overly lengthy one, but I think there's plenty to discuss. And it's we're potentially coming out of that meeting, making a recommendation to pursue to the board of selectmen.
Do you think an hour and a half?
Sure, let's call it an hour.
I could make that online.
At 7?
We can look at other times, but 7's our standard.
7 is fine by me. 7 works.
1, 2, yeah, good. All right, I'm good.
The 30th, correct?
Yes, this
Thursday
Thursday.
the 30th.
30th, okay.
Lisa, Michelle, Thursday at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
We'll post it as hybrid. I'll come sit in this room if need be. But it's really just going to be. Is it easier for you? Can you do it, Lisa?
I can do it. I told you I was available.
Down here is available? There's nothing going on Thursday?
There's nothing on the calendar.
Okay.
I will coordinate. I think the Board of Finance might be trying to schedule a special meeting, so I will coordinate with them. I'll post the agenda tomorrow. It's either going to be all fully virtual or it'll be hybrid and we'll be down here.
Okay.
All right, thank you, everybody. I appreciate accommodating all of the special meetings all along the way. It really has been a good collaborative group effort. All right, we lost our other chair. Hey! So we are officially done with business, Brianna, so I'm going to move that we adjourn this sucker at 8:46 p.m.
I'll make a second.
Seconded by Jeremy. All those in favor on the SBC side at least, please say aye.
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 We can adjourn because we don't have a quorum any longer, so.
I don't know what the procedure for that is. I probably should, but
You
I
have to
don't.
stay.
Yes,
You
just
live
take
here.
it out.
You're stuck in a meeting for the rest of your life.
Until we get a quorum again.
Thank you.
Jim, do you need our participation Thursday night in the special meeting?
Yes.
Okay. I can do that.
Thank you, everybody, I appreciate it. Meeting adjourned at 8:46 PM.
And you're gonna send out the meeting invite, it'll come from the town?